Hello everyone, it's 2-4 again. Welcome back to another NPA Week 2 match featuring Michaelderbeste2 and MegaUmbreonVGC. I've already introduced myself last week during one of the matches, but in case you don't know me, my name's 2-4. I'm one of the commentators for NPA, and yeah, we can actually just go ahead and jump right into it. Yeah, taking a look at these teams, we have Michaelderbeste2 versus MegaUmbreonVGC. Just like a pre-warning to, not a pre-warning, but like some accolades for these players. Michaelderbeste2, probably best known for hitting rank number 1 on the random bats ladder multiple times, a really good singles player, and also translating to doubles as a doubles player, getting top 2, top 4, and also top 8 at Worlds, all within the first couple years of him competing. He has multiple regional finishes, and yeah, I don't know about Nats, but someone can fact check me on that. But MegaUmbreon on the other hand, has recently had a breakout performance in the Grand Champions Festival, the 6,000 player tournament that happened, that hosted by Jacob Scraw. He got second place using a similar team that we see on screen, actually, with with Frostlass. And so basically, like, he beat someone last week. He basically beat a player that was favored to win over MegaUmbreon, and MegaUmbreon won it. So yeah, and now he's playing Michaelderbeste2. So like, I felt like this game was awesome to commentate, because if he wins, then, like, you know, it's just not a fluke, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's basically what we're about to get into. Also, MegaUmbreon from Texas, repping the Texas gang, North Texas. So yeah, good stuff to MegaUmbreon. But while we're looking at this team, it looks like it's a version of UB Slow, with Cleavor. Now, Cleavor is pretty interesting because Cleavor is actually a really good counter into Charizard specifically, not only for stone types, and not stone types, but like Stone Axe being really good against Charizard because of its typing, but also because of basically because of stealth rocks, which, like, is not really a common thing of VGC, but it is really good in singles, and also I feel like it has a good place in VGC because of like getting rid of focus sashes from Aegislashes and Basculegion, and sometimes Sneasler, doing half damage to Charizard and to other fire types, which is huge. But other fire types is only 25% against Dragonite. It's also 25% against Pelipper, 25%. So it does have his niche. And it's also was seen a lot this week because of the rise in Charizard Glimora, which was a pretty popular team. So yeah, this is MegaUmbreon's team. If we go over to Michaelderbeste2's team, he is actually running a team that is similar to JoeUX9's Mimikyu Sand team, except Derbeste actually has Aegislash over the Mimikyu, which is a pretty cool adaptation, giving you the fighting coverage other than like T-Tar, and you also have like Poltergeist Shadow Sneak, which is pretty good. But you are missing out on that fairy coverage, which is kind of an issue, especially into running into MegaUmbreon's team, because you have Dragonite. However, you do have that T-Tar, and you have Excadrill and stuff like that. So there are ways to counteract that. But you know, Michaelderbeste2 basically running a pretty standard sand team, which is which is pretty cool to see. I really like, honestly, I wasn't expecting him to run something like this, just on the fact that he tends to run like pretty standard teams, and also he doesn't run the same thing every week. So yeah, it's just cool to see him run a unique team like this, basically. So yeah, we can actually go ahead and start and go into the matchups. But before that, who do I think is gonna win? I think the matchup is pretty even. Personally speaking, I think Basket Legion especially is pretty good into this team if you put it into a position where you can do well with Last Respects. And also like Sneasler is good into both Escadrille, T-Tar, and Dragon, and Rotom to an extent with close combat. You have to worry about the Stitch Berry and Will-O-Wisp though. And so as long as like you're getting rid of the Steel types, which honestly now that I'm looking at it, this team doesn't really have a lot to hit the Steel types other than the Basket Legion, and yeah, other than Basket Legion really, and King Gambit, just because of the typing from like Aegislash into King Gambit. So as long as like you have a way to deal with the Steel types from Derbesi, I feel like MegaUmbreon could do really well. But with that being said, we can actually get into the games. There we go. So here's the matchups again. Like I said, I feel like MegaUmbreon has to get rid of the Steel types in order to do pretty well. But we'll see. I feel like Sand has a pretty decent matchup into Snow, but honestly, this is really a Snow team. This is really just a Mega Frostlass team. So yeah, we can actually just go ahead and start. So we see the Excadrill T-Tar lead. And we also see Sneasler and Dragonite lead. So this is an interesting lead because this was basically Derbesi calling that MegaUmbreon would lead Frostlass, and especially because like you have the T-Tar, which is a counter to Frostlass because of getting that Sand up after Mega Frostlass if it goes for the Veil. Not Veil, sorry, if it megas. And honestly, this is just like a pretty standard lead into most teams. But now you have a Sneasler and Dragonite, and this Dragonite does have low kick, and the Sneasler does have fake out. So I would suspect a low kick plus fake out coming out from MegaUmbreon, and then I would assume either a double protect or maybe a swap out into Aegislash for the T-Tar slot, and then you just have Excadrill to go for a protect. I would assume that's probably the best play here, especially because the Aegislash does not cannot be damaged by any of these Pokemon. And we actually see the Corviknight come out. Corviknight is the other Steel type that I was thinking about, and the Excadrill actually doesn't go for a protect here, breaking the Focus Sash from the Excadrill, and ooh, we see a Tailwind come out. Now we're kind of in a pickle for Derbesi, because now the Sneasler is actually faster than this Excadrill because it's under Tailwind, but you also do have this Corviknight that's kind of staring you down, right? So I guess you honestly could double with low kick plus close combat into Corviknight, and it might just OHKO that Corviknight, which really, if I'm MegaUmbreon, I'm looking to OHKO the Steel type, because realistically, like, I have a lot of fighting coverage. I can handle this Excadrill and T-Tar later as long as I have fighting coverage. And we actually see the swap out from Mega Dragonite into Frostlass, and the close combat actually coming out into the Excadrill, just calling the no protect, no swap into Aegislash, no nothing, and just OHKOing the Excadrill, and the Excadrill is going to go down. So yeah, I would suspect a Brave Bird coming out from this Corviknight into the Sneasler slot. We actually see a bulk up. Wow. Okay, so Michaelderbeste not opting for any attacking moves at all so far, which is interesting. but that's okay, I guess. So we will see the T-Tar come out, but now we actually have a bulked up Corviknight, which honestly, him going for the bulk up makes a lot of sense, especially now looking at the board state. Like Sneasler can't really deal with the Corviknight, and you have a Frostlass on the field that has Protect, Blizzard, Shadow Ball, Aura Veil. So you don't really have much to Oko this this Corviknight, unless if it goes for a Mega. And honestly, I would suspect a Mega from T-Tar, or a Protect or a Mega from T-Tar to try to counteract this this Frostlass. And we will see the Mega come out from the Frostlass to try to get the special attack boost. Yeah, to try to get the special attack boost that it gets. I think it gets like 135 after it Megas. And the close combat going onto the Corviknight and doing a substantial amount of damage, doing around 60%. Or sorry, not 60%, 30 HP. And we see a Blizzard actually come out. And the T-Tar is going to go for a Rock Slide, hitting that Frostlass. Not taking that much damage because of the defense boost. And probably a Brave Bird into the... yes, into that Sneasler slide. Okay, so Sneasler finally comes down. There is Mega still available on Michaelderbeste2's side. So I would suspect a Mega from T-Tar plus Roost on the Corviknight maybe. Hoping to miss a Blizzard into the Corviknight slot, or maybe a swap into a Hydreigon or something like that. But the T-Tar is going to come out, and we're still under Tailwind, so you could honestly go for like a Shadow Ball plus a Low Kick, and that kind of covers all options. The only option it doesn't cover is this Aegislash, so we will see if Derbeste actually brought the Aegislash. Yeah, honestly, like, if Derbeste doesn't bring this Aegislash, I think Mega Umbreon has it in the bag. But we will see. Yeah, let's go ahead and skip. We'll just go ahead and... Oh, sorry about that. We'll go ahead and skip through this. So we actually see the withdraw from Corviknight, which is interesting. And we see a Rotom come out, so no Aegislash. Interesting, no Aegislash on the field means that, yeah, it means a lot of stuff. We also see the Low Kick, we also see the Mega come out from Tyranitar and a Protect. Okay, so I would suspect a Shadow Ball into this Rotom slot plus a Low Kick. And then from there, depending on how much damage this does, it does... Okay, alright. So we see a Low Kick come out into the T-Tar. And honestly, I feel like you're still in a pretty alright position, especially because a Low Kick is probably going to do a lot of damage to Corviknight. And this T-Tar might be a little bit faster because it's Dragon Claw, E-Speed, Low Kick, Tailwind. So a Low Kick into the T-Tar is going to Oko the T-Tar, but the question is, like, will it Oko the this Corviknight? And the other question is, do you call the swap and just go for a Shadow Ball plus Low Kick into the T-Tar slot? That is the question of the day. But you also have this Rotom on the field. I think this game is going to come down to who Mega Umbreon has in the back. So we actually see the Blizzard come out and it avoiding the attack. And it just Oko's Corviknight. Okay, all right. That's awesome. So Corviknight is going to go down, and then we see a Will-O-Wisp come out onto the from Rotom onto Dragonite. And we're also going to see this Low Kick, so not doing a lot of damage because apparently a washing machine is only 60 base power, which is weird, but you know, I guess it's whatever, I guess. And then we're gonna see this T-Tar come out. The real question is, what do you have in the back to deal with this Rotom? If you have a Kingambit, you're probably in a pretty decent position. If you have a Basculegion, you're in a not so good position, assuming that the Rotom is slower. It's faster than Basculegion. which you do need a little bit of investment in order to do that. At least max speed adamant, Basket Legion. So I guess we will see in a couple seconds. Frost Slice is going to come for Protect, and we do see a Thunderbolt come out into the Dragonite, not doing that much damage because it's only a 1 times effective move, not both times. And the Rock Slide is going to come out, and this Dragonite does faint. So now we're not really too sure what Mega Umbreon has in the back. Realistically, we hope it's a Kingambit. A Kingambit would be really good for Mega Umbreon here. But we will see. I'm just gonna skip ahead real quick. Taking a long time to bring out Basket Legion. Okay, so we do see the Basket Legion. I guess you're only... This is so complicated because you can call the Protect from Rotom. If you call it Protect, then you go for a Liquidation into the T-Tar and OHKO it. But on the other side, you could just try to OHKO it with Last Respects and do a lot of damage. But the question is, what do you do here, and also who's faster? So both of those things are at play. I would suspect a double. Honestly, if it were me, I think I would double Protect. We actually don't see the double Protect, so we are going to see a double up potentially into the Rotom. The Rotom goes down to 46 HP. Liquidation is faster, but it goes into the Protect into that slot. So, oh my goodness. Okay, now we're in a pickle. We are in a pickle, ladies and gentlemen. So the sash is just broken from the slot. Looking at Sandstorm damage, I feel like you have to go for the Liquidation, maybe call it Protect into the Basket Legion, but I think Thunderbolt is just gonna pick up, unless if this Rotom is potentially like bold or something like that, and so Thunderbolt isn't going to do a lot of damage. Maybe it goes for a Will-O-Wisp instead, but Liquidation is going to pick up that T-Tar. Also, a lot of crucial information that was revealed last turn, that the Basket Legion is... Oh my goodness, it lives on 3 HP. That is insane. Okay, so this so a lot of crucial information here for game 2. This Rotom is slower than Basket Legion, and it also cannot reliably OHKO Basket Legion with Thunderbolt. Honestly, that being so huge for the game, because now Mega Umbreon picks up game 1, and that is one more game closer to a victory. Oh man, that was crazy. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and skip to the next match. Some adjustments I think that should be made. I think Aegislash was really good here. I think it should have been brought 100% of the time. I'm not really too sure why it wasn't. And I think something to deal with well, honestly, I was gonna say something to deal with the Rotom better might be a little bit more decent, but now that we know the Basket Legion is faster than Rotom, it might be good enough. I could potentially see a Kingambit coming out to counter a potential Aegislash pick. But yeah, I guess we'll see. But I could also understand why Basket Legion could be good, because it's good into both their sand modes, or into their sand mode. So yeah, we can just go ahead and skip this forward a little bit. Okay, so we actually see the Rotom plus Corviknight lead, and Frostlass Sneasler coming out. Interesting lead. I would suspect a Shadow Ball or Blizzard plus Close Combat into the Corviknight slot to try to OHKO that Corviknight, because I think the Steel type is going to do a lot of damage versus the team if you don't keep it in check. So, and you also have Rotom on the field. While Rotom is just good at like sitting here, the only thing it can do right now is Will-O-Wisp, and we actually see the swap out from Corviknight into Aegislash. So, so that's a good thing, really. There's probably sand in the back, if I were to guess. So T-Tar. Yeah, and we're gonna see a Frostlass Mega Evolve, and we will see what happens next. So we actually see a fake out onto the Corviknight slot we just swapped, and a Blizzard actually coming out into Aegislash plus Rotom. Not gonna do a lot of damage into neither of them because of being resisted, but the crit onto this Rotom is going to do a little bit more than what was expected. But we are going to see that burn. Now we're in a position where this Frostlass and Sneasler don't really do a lot of damage into this Aegislash right now, except for Shadow Ball. But Shadow Ball is the only thing that can reliably do any damage at all into this Aegislash. And you have a Sneasler that gets walled by Aegislash by both types. Poison, Steel being Poison cannot affect Steel, and Fighting cannot affect Ghost. Is what I'm trying to say. And the Rotom probably going to swap out into Corviknight, if I were to guess. But we are going to see that Protect onto Frostlass, trying not to get any damage off into it, and the Protect onto Sneasler. So MegaUmbreon just trying to scout out anything he can, really, in order to win this game. The Rotom is going to Protect right now, so, and the Aegislash is actually going to go for a I didn't see which move that was, but it was a Ghost move because those Ghost moves can, yeah. But now the Aegislash is kind of in a position where it can either go for King Shield and try to call a double up into the Rotom. Sorry, it goes for an attacking move, try to call a double up into the Rotom slot, or it just goes for King Shield, just go back into that shield form. But we will see what happens next. I would assume this Rotom goes for a Thunderbolt or swaps out, and wow, holy crap, MegaUmbreon calling the no protect into Aegislash, just going for the Oko onto it, and we see a close combat onto the Rotom. Huge play from MegaUmbreon right there, calling that Michaelderbeste would not go for the protect into Aegislash. Wow, okay, thank you, spectator. That was absolutely insane. Frostlass, sorry, MegaUmbreon calling the no protect from Aegislash and just going for a raw Shadow Ball into it. And we see a Hydro Bomb come out into the Sneasler slot, while the Sneasler just goes for Chip onto the Rotom to just try to do a bunch of damage into it, really. Now we see the Corviknight come out. The main threat of this team is now gone. If we were to suspect that MegaUmbreon brought the same Pokemon as he did last game, then that is really good that this Aegislash is down, especially because Aegislash did well in the Basculegion. It did super well into Sneasler and the Dragonite, and now like it also did pretty well into the Frostlass. If I'm Michaelderbeste, I'm really angry at myself right now for just not going for the protect, but you know, it is what it is, this Pokemon. We actually see a swap out from Rotom into the T-Tar. The T-Tar is honestly, yeah, okay, Dark Claw makes a lot of sense. Probably calling that there will be another. I'm not really too sure why they went for Dire Claw, if I'm being honest. But yeah, we're just coming out onto the field. Now we're in a pretty good position. If I do say, I would suspect this Frostlass is not really needed because you can just go for Shadow Ball into the Corviknight slot and just kind of let it go down, and you can go for a Protect onto the Sneasler or a Close Combat onto the T-Tar. But I suspect what's about to happen is that if I'm MegaUmbreon, I'm going for a double up into this Corviknight slot because the T-Tar is going to go for a Protect, And if I'm Michaelderbeste2, I'd probably go for Protect Belly Bird into the sneezer slot, to just try to get it off the field, really, because yeah. So we actually do see a swap out. We see a swap out in King Gambit, actually. Interesting. And the T-Tar going for the Protect. So, MegaUmbreon, I suspect to go for a close combat into the Corviknight slot, but it actually goes into the T-Tar slot, trying to not call it Protect. And a Bulk Up comes out, actually. Okay. So, Derbeste saying, like, hey, I can just leave this Sneasler on the field and it not really do much. And especially, like, next turn, it could just go for a Roost plus Protect or something like that. But honestly, like, if you're in MegaUmbreon's position, I feel like you are so you're so like clean for the late game, because you have this King Gambit that can do a lot of damage into the Rotom, into the T-Tar, especially with low kick. You have Sucker Punch to do a little bit of chip into this bird slot, the Corviknight slot, and as soon as this Sneasler goes down, you can kind of just swap in Basculegion and kind of start picking up KOs with Last Respects. So yeah, but we do see the Rotom come out in the close combat, doing a little bit more chip into this Rotom slot, and we also see another Bulk Up. So now this Corviknight is at +2, and the Kowtow Cleave is also going to come out, and Oko the Rotom. So now we have a T-Tar versus T-Tar and a +2 attack, +2 defense Corviknight with body press, I might add, and we also have a Frost Slice in the back, and I would also assume a Basculegion. So if Basculegion's in the back, I feel like this game is pretty much wrapped up. If not, it could be Dragonite. But realistically, like, the only Mon that's doing a lot of damage into the Dragonite slot, or sorry, into the Corviknight slot, is this Frost Slice and a Last Respect Basculegion. So hopefully we actually do see that Last Respect Basculegion come out. So Derbeste's like, I don't know what's going on. He's like sitting here not picking his last Pokemon. Like, come on, dude. All right, T-Tar comes out, and we actually do see the Basculegion come out. So, yeah, and we actually don't know how many turns of sand there are, but I would assume there's like maybe 2 turns of sand left. So, yeah, the question is, what do you do? All right, Sven. Thank you, Sven. Everyone in the comments type thank you, spectator. We appreciate that. Let's see. So we have King Gambit. I would assume a low kick is going to come out into the T-Tar, and then the Basculegion. If I were MegaUmbreon, I would probably just go for a Liquidation or a Protect, or you might be able to go for Sucker Punch into the Corviknight slot to do a little bit of chip, and just try to get a little bit of damage off of it, so you can. So yeah, basically, so you can like live a little bit longer. The T-Tar actually going for a Mega, opting to Mega before the Frost Slash swaps in, and the Basculegion is going to go for that Protect. So I suspect we're going to see a low kick plus body press into this King Gambit slot. So we do see that low kick come out. Low kick only going to do about I can't do math. I think that's 120 maybe. But that actually, oh my goodness, the King Gambit actually being faster than Corviknight, which is huge because now that was actually huge because now it's a Frostlass and Basculegion versus a Corviknight, and this Corviknight really can't do much, especially since it's slower than both the Frostlass and the Basculegion. Basculegion is going to be at 150 base Last Respects, plus adaptability, plus stab, so it's just got a ton of things going for it. And you have Frostlass that counteracts the +1 defense because it is a special attacker. So this is absolutely huge. And yeah, this is basically locked up for MegaUmbreon. Really well played by MegaUmbreon, especially that Shadow Ball play onto the Aegislash. I think that just sealed the deal. Frostlass actually going for the Aurora Veil. And not opting to just go for Shadow Ball, and we will see that last respect go onto the Corviknight. The Corviknight going for Tailwind. Okay. I think like if let me put it this way. I don't personally like that play because you're susceptible to crits. So like now if you go for Brave Bird into the Basket Legion and you crit, well, I guess you still Shadow Ball. So yeah, and we'll see the Roost come out. That makes sense. Now I feel like it's just a Roost game, like Roost plus Ice Respects, and try to see how much damage you can do. However, this Corviknight is actually taking a lot of damage from Shadow Ball plus Ice Respects. I would assume Corviknight just tries to Roost up for the rest of till the end of time, and then you have Shadow Ball plus Ice Respects. But anyway, we can just go ahead and skip through this. Yeah, we see the Brave Bird come out onto the Basket Legion. The recoil actually doing a lot of damage, and so now this Corviknight is going to go down. So congrats to Mega Umbreon. Huge win on Michaelderbeste2. Yeah, that Shadow Ball play was actually so huge. Inside I just lashed a lot. So yeah, huge congrats to Mega Umbreon. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see y'all next week for week 3 matches. So yep, peace out.